All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. So yesterday, Splitgate 2 had their split stream going on, and it was with both CEOs, and the topic of discussion, for the most part, was everything about the relaunch. Well, everything within at least an hour and 40 minutes, and maybe a few games thrown in here and there. So basically, at this point, we're just going to condense that and just talk about all the important stuff in terms of what was kind of asked and what was kind of answered or whatnot, or any type of sort of plans going forward that were revealed or mildly talked about. So this is what it's going to be about. So without further ado, let's get into this, because I watched it before falling asleep and passing out. I ended up watching it and writing down all the notes, and then I just passed out. So let's get right into it. So that's why this video is a little bit late. So anyway, so they mentioned that they're going back to beta because there were things like mastery challenges, ranked, et cetera, and a whole bunch of other features that were supposed to be at launch, and it wasn't. So it just didn't feel like a launch, and it feels like a beta. This is going to be a full relaunch, not just something that's like a big update with bug fixes, et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't going to be enough. So they need to take the fundamentals and changes to the formula, and nothing is really off the table. So they're discussing things like, should we take away factions? Should we add portal cooldowns, et cetera, et cetera? Should they take away loadouts or double down on them? Things like that. So now the way they're going to get those answers is by pretty much testing everything out, and it will absolutely be community driven in terms of if the community is okay with such and such and such and such, as well as play testing to where they're going to have one every single month. That's basically going to determine which direction they take. So, all right, next up, let's see. Play testing once a month is a goal, as I just mentioned. They also discussed about the layoffs. So they needed more time for a proper relaunch, and they were originally wanting a September big update, but it wasn't realistic. And 3 months for a proper relaunch just wasn't enough time. The reality is that they don't have enough money to do this forever with 170 people. So they parted ways with about 45 developers, and they need to budget based off of this relaunch. The 45 devs that were let go were actually working on future content, which didn't make sense because we are barely in season 1, let alone a proper launch. So it just didn't make sense to add things when current things needed fixing. So next up, here's where we get into where they talk about sunsetting Splitgate 1. So it costs about 40 to 50K a month to keep the servers up for that game. Plus, there's also third parties that they're also relying on. So even with a few hundred players, the costs are still the same. So basically, he had to make a choice. Ian had to make a choice between saving 5 more devs and to save their jobs with the current game, or keep the servers for Splitgate 1 up. So he ended up choosing to save the 5 developers' jobs, and it was pretty much a no-brainer, and it just makes sense, right? I mean, I definitely would have done the same thing. All right, we're going up to the next one. So the bare minimum in terms of Splitgate 1 is that they will have an offline only mode with just bots, or maybe a peer-to-peer type of thing, and which they're exploring options about, because they have to do a lot of checking on the back end and stuff like that. So that's something that they're still looking into, but not guaranteed. But at the very least, an offline mode with bots. Let's see. People hosting their own servers is easier said than done, and they actually rely on third-party sources, so they don't have the rights in a sense. So they want to keep the game alive in some capacity, and are definitely exploring all things possible. And all of that kind of pretty much started yesterday, as far as Splitgate 1 is concerned. According to Nicholas, like he just started looking into this yesterday, if I remember correctly. All right, next up, December/January would be the goal, but it's not set in stone as far as the relaunch is concerned. They're also working on a simple and rewarding post-game screen and a simple battle pass system. They want to go back to simplicity, which is great. They won't copy Splitgate 1's post-game because they know they can do even better than that. So for those of you guys that played Splitgate 1, the post-game screen tells you quite a bit in terms of not just progression, but in terms of how well you performed in match. It was almost kind of like an accolades screen for those of you guys that played Modern Warfare 3, the original Modern Warfare 3 back in 2011. You know, there were also some like accolades and stuff like that. So all right, but they're going to do it even better though. So which is actually pretty exciting, because Splitgate's one post screen definitely gives the player a lot of info in terms of specifics. So all right, next up, ranked has been tweaked to where the gap in skill is a bit closer now. So let's say at the most, the example that was given, a platinum can play with a champion, but that's as wide as it gets. You know, other than that, they want it to be obviously as close as possible. But a platinum can play with a champion or against a champion. So let's see. Next up, they now have the ability to put custom maps into playlists. So chapter 3's update is still coming, and they're trying to get that into the game within the next few days in terms of the ability to get the custom games into an official playlist, which is great, because there's been a lot of map creators that have been really hard at work at creating amazing maps, some of them familiar with other franchises and some of them completely brand spanking new, as well as some of them being maps from Splitgate 1. So to put that into playlist, I think would be absolutely huge. So the fact that we might get something like that within the next few days is awesome. It's huge. It's big. I mean, if we can get that, like, let's say, you know, by the latest, you know, of early next week or something like that, that would be huge. And I think a lot of the map creators will be happy. All right, next up, the game will be community driven, and there are things that Splitgate 1 did certain things better than Splitgate 2, and Splitgate 2 did certain things better than Splitgate 1. So they're not remaking Splitgate 1, but are rather combining the best elements of both games, so that way they can get the kind of both the best worlds. So they don't want to turn Splitgate 2 into a better looking Splitgate 1. They're gonna do the best of both worlds, you know, because Splitgate 2 does have its identity, and from a gameplay perspective and everything else, I mean, Splitgate 2 does certain things better. And then at the same time, when you're looking at Splitgate 1, there are definitely members of the community that basically say, hey, Splitgate 1 was better in this capacity, or they'll just say it was better overall because of such and such. So game modes also that are similar to Splitgate 1, like being continuous game modes instead of having something round to round, is something that they're looking at as well. So that is likely to happen. They are also re-evaluating every single map and might even get rid of certain maps. And again, nothing is off the table. So let's see. Next up, kill cam and theater mode. So kill cam won't make it into relaunch because they made the decision early on to get with the new iris system in Unreal 5 because it's better for performance like hit detection and netcode. But Unreal 5 actually doesn't support kill cams or replays because of just how the system is. But they are trying to do a workaround for theater mode, which is incredibly difficult actually. But it's not natively supported, and that's why it's so incredibly difficult. Now, if Unreal 5 were to get an upgrade or an update, then it may end up being possible, but at this time, it definitely is not the case. So next up, having the ability to pick your own playlist is a must-have. So a lot of you guys, for instance, have been mentioning like, hey, I stopped playing because I can't, you know, independently choose the mode that I want to play. So they're definitely going in that direction as well. Every cosmetic will be kept, by the way. So no items or skins will be removed. So if you've gotten anything, whether it's a camo, whether you bought something in the store, or earned the camo that you got or whatever from the challenges and stuff like that, none of that is going to be taken away. It's not like you're going to have to be starting from scratch. So they're also doing a refer a friend system, which actually helped the first game quite a bit. And they will be will be a thing, and bonuses to bring players back in grassroots and organic approach will be taken instead of just paying streamers. So because that was one of my major questions, is that like, how is the marketing going to change, you know? So they're going to take a grassroots approach and something more organic as opposed to paying streamers, which I think a lot of you will be happy with that. I remember so many people were basically saying that they felt like it was the wrong approach to do that. Let's see. Splitgate 2 will also stay online from beta to launch or beta to relaunch and will not be going offline. One of the people in chat was really concerned about that. So the game is not going to be taken offline. So we're always going to have something to play until this relaunch. So now player count is bigger on console for sure than Steam, but it's not like 10 times bigger than what we see on Steam. But it is bigger for sure. And he also mentioned, even though he didn't go into detail, he also mentioned that Steam charts don't display the entire story. So maybe we have a few more people playing on Steam than we might think, but at the same time, it's still kind of like a ballpark figure or whatnot. So okay, next up, some gun screen shake needs to be toned down. Yeah, he can agree on that. I mean, for the most part, we're in a good spot with a whole bunch of things, but I guess there's some screen shape going on with certain guns that need to be toned down, so he agrees with that. Let's see. Setting up cross-functional teams. They're also setting up cross-functional teams so that way they can be more progressive. So I guess what this means is like in terms of, shifting the pieces and stuff like that and just putting everything in a position to where things will be moving faster and more smoothly without necessarily, the devs, going all nuts and just, it's like, just kind of putting yourself in a position to where things will be better. So that's really cool. So saving custom game mode settings is something that is also coming. Ian was really big on that. So let's see. And when the play tests come, which is mentioned previously that they're going to be once a month, they're all going to be open and they're all going to be streamable. So they're not going to be private, kind of like the play tests in alpha that certain people were a part of. That's not going to be the case here. So every single play test that they're going to do are actually going to be open and streamable. So this is good. This is good for content. And it's also really, really good for feedback. So every single player will be able to not only play everything that's being tested, but they'll also be able, for those people that are content creators, they're also streamers. And at the same time, you can kind of mix and match. So for instance, if I do the new play test, and if I'm streaming that, then, my viewers will have something to say about that as well, in terms of how it looks from my perspective when they look at my POV. And at the same time, they can get in there themselves and they can try for themselves and be like, okay, because when you look at something, that's one thing, which is fine and which is great. But when you actually play it and experience it firsthand, it's a little bit more in depth and a little bit better in terms of, whether it's better than you thought when you first saw it or worse than you thought when you first saw it. So, and the last but not least, more surveys are coming. So I'm going to be expecting one probably every week, if not every few weeks, in terms of surveys. And hopefully they'll get a little bit more in depth in terms of the surveys. Like, obviously it's going to be like, I'm assuming it's going to be something like multiple choice. But at the same time, if you have the ability to give details in terms of the question that's being asked, I think that's very important because, if you have a certain, because if you choose a certain answer to a certain question, I think it's also very important to give an in-depth either reason as to why or something specific that can literally make the difference, because because if you don't like something or if something is not supposed to be in the game, it's like, if you just answer a question, it's going to be like, oh, okay, no, they definitely don't want this. However, if you have a blank space to where you can give something specific in terms of a reason or something like that, it's like, okay, maybe they don't hate this, but this is what they don't like about it. So maybe we can include this, but do it this way because this is why they don't like it. So if we were to change what they don't like, but keep the concept of what we had previously intact, then I think we have a winner. You know what I mean? Because there are certain things in the game, obviously, that are winners and that just need tuning or changing in order for those things to be better. So not everything needs to be taken away. And I think that's why they should have a blank space below every survey question in terms of specifics. So, or at least the option to answer specifics when it comes to specific type of questions. But with that being said, guys, that's pretty much it. That was pretty much what was discussed yesterday. They discussed things, and they were also playing a few games. So yeah, basically that was pretty much what was mentioned and what the highlights were. So I want to know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this? Is there anything specifically that you would want requested? Because again, even on my channel, for a small fry like me, these guys are watching and they are taking feedback from every way possible. And obviously content creation is only one source, but it is a good source. There's obviously the Discord, there's obviously places like X and all sorts of different forms of social media that you can find these guys on, but as well as the comment section of their own stream or videos whenever they put them up. So there's definitely ways to communicate in terms of, things that could use some tweaking, things that a player wants. And again, what they mentioned earlier, and I'm going to say this one more time before closing here, is that nothing is off the table. Like, these guys are willing to dissect really deep into the game to to basically make the proper changes possible in order to make as many people as happy as possible. So with that being said, guys, let me know down in the comment section not only what you think, but in terms of if there's anything specific to what was mentioned here or something specific that you would want answered. Let that be known in the comment section down below. And as always, I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to watch and or listen. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.